Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm already so nervous, so everybody talking is making me even more nervous. But I want to thank Bobby for putting the most ugliest picture of me up on stage. He could have consulted me first, but he didn't. So I'll get him for that later. Hayden wants me to say a joke as well. Hayden? So my name is Dee and I'm from Wise Healthcare. I'm the wise one, like a Spice Girl, but not the wise girl. See, Hayden, no one laughed. No one laughed, Hayden. Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I met Bobby 3 years ago at Magnum. And actually he wanted me to work for him, but he didn't know what to do with me. But here I am today. So I'd like to tell you a story of one of my participants, just recent, very, very recent. I can't think, it's too much talking. Oof. Breathe. Thanks, babe. Thank you. So one of our participants that we met 6 months ago really didn't like engaging. So she would engage for a week or so, then she wouldn't engage for 3, then she would come back. So we were supporting her for maybe a month, and then her support coordinator gave me a call and said, you know what, Dee, she doesn't want to engage. Let's put it on hold for a little while. 6 months later, she called me back again and she said, Dee, let's call her Jessica. Jessica wants to engage again. So we would support Jessica 5 days a week to take her to, to take her to the community centre to have lunch every day. And she wanted to be there exactly 12:15, because if it wasn't 12:15, if she wasn't there, she felt like she would miss out on lunch. Lunch went to 2 o'clock, but she needed it to be 12:15. So we would go and we would take her. She was alone. She didn't have any family. She's alone. She had a dog. She's got a dog. And it was her best friend and her only friend and her only companion. Went for about 3 days. My support worker would ring me and say, Dee, Stacey won't open the door. She lives in an apartment where you have to go through gates and then get to her door, but she never wanted you to go to her house. She'd want you to meet you out the front. And then I would call her phone, and her phone had no dial tone, no ringtone, it wouldn't ring. So I was like, what do I do here? So I went to Bobby and I'm like, Bobby, what do I do here? And he said, well, obviously ring the support coordinator. I notified the support coordinator. Support coordinator said to me, yeah, Dee, she does this all the time. And I said, well, we know that she goes to a GP very regularly. Can I have his number? Maybe I can speak to him. Has she visited the GP? She said, no, I'll do that. So I called her back later that day and I said, look, I still can't get a hold of Stacey. Her phone has no dial tone. What can I do? And she said, look, I've spoken to her GP. Her GP said, no, it's fine. She does this all the time. I didn't feel right about it. The team didn't feel right about it. So we filed a missing persons report. So I called the police, and there's a long, long process when it comes to something like that. It doesn't just happen overnight. So they said, look, how long has she been missing for? I said, look, it's been about a week now, and she has no dial tone, she has no ringtone. So they said, look, we'll go and we'll do a welfare check. They couldn't get into the house either because she lives in an apartment, so it's gated, you have to press a buzzer. So then they had to make an application to the Department of Housing, which is another process in itself. So they made a application to Department of Housing, and they managed to get the keys to go inside her property. Police officer called me back and said to me, Dee, look, it's really, really strange. It looks like no one's ever lived here before. Very tidy. And I said, but what about the dog bowl? Because I know that she loves her dog and she goes nowhere without her dog. And he said, no, the dog bowl is clean, empty, there's no water. I said, okay, well, we can't leave it at that. Like, it just didn't feel right. And I've spoken to Stacey a million times, so I've made that connection with her, and I can't just sleep at night knowing that I don't know where she is. support coordinator, I kept speaking with her. She looked into more of her file and she had actually made an application for assisted in dying. So I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, what's happened to her? What's happening? So then I called the police. I let them know that. Then they made another application, which went for another 2 days to try and access her Commonwealth Bank card or ATM card. And so they called me back a couple of days later and they said, well, it's been accessed. And I'm like, oh, great. That means she's okay. And then they're like, no, doesn't mean that because it could be anybody using that card. I was like, oh, great. So then they made another application to have a look at the video footage, things like that. They couldn't find anything. And then it was a Sunday night. I was having dinner with my family and the police officer called me about 8 o'clock. It was about 7 or 8 o'clock. And he said, we found Jessica. They actually found Jessica sleeping rough. The policeman's words were she was sleeping really, really rough in front of a toilet block on Glenferrie Road. They spoke with Stacey. She had lost her dog and she didn't want to go home. He said that her literal words were, I don't want to go home, lit a cigarette and laid back down. And I said, okay, so what do we do now? And a police officer said, well, we can't do anything else. That's it. There's nothing else we can do. So I called the support coordinator and the support coordinator said, well, we know she's fine and I can't do anything else. There's nothing else I can do. And I said to Bobby, I can't just leave her out there like that. And he said, well, there's really nothing else we can do. We notified the NDIS Commission. We did everything. We did the incident report. We did everything we can to help Jessica. But it was up to Jessica at the end of the day. But what made me feel good is to know that she knew, because the police officer also said, Dee's been trying to contact you, she has no family. And she said, no, I'll call her one day. She called me and she said, Dee, I want to go home. And I said, okay, where are you? I'll send a support worker out there. So we went, we picked her up, we took her home, and she's been great ever since. So I do check up on her every couple of days though, just to see. Sometimes she doesn't answer the phone. Sometimes she does. But as long as our support workers are visiting her every couple of days, because I know she has no family. So that is one of our success stories. Thank you, David, for staying, because I know you wanted to leave. So yeah, they're one of our success stories. And I want to say, in this line of work that I do or we do, you tend to take this stuff home, and I take it home a lot. And Bobby always says to me, Dee, you can't save the world. Unfortunately, we can't, but as long as we are trying to make a difference, even if it's a tiny little bit of a difference, like Gaul was saying earlier, some of these people just need someone to talk to, and they don't have anyone. And Jessica only had her dog. Oh, by the way, we ended up getting her dog. It was at the pound. So we got her dog back as well. So yeah, it is a lot of the time that they just want to talk. I mean, I can sit on the phone with most of our participants for ages on the phone. And, it does take up most of my day sometimes, but this is what they need and this is what we're supposed to do as providers, as carers, as whatever you would like to call us. We have to do this. This is our job. They're not just a number, they're human. They could be our brother, our sister, our family member. And this is what I try and explain to my support workers as well, that this could be one of your family members. So we need to treat them with respect and do everything that we can. Otherwise, this job isn't for you. But yeah, that's it. I'd like to thank Bobby because he does. Where are you, Bobby? You're eating. You found something to eat. I'd like to thank Bobby because he does put a lot of time into teaching us and educating us on everything. And, sometimes, I wouldn't be here and feeling good about some of my success stories if it wasn't for him. So, and our team. So thank you everyone for coming. And there is a little bit more food, swap cards around. And thank you. And David, now you can leave. David, do you want to say something quickly? I'm so sorry. David's come to a couple of our events and he kept complaining to me that I haven't put him up on stage. So you've got 3 minutes, David, quick.
Hey everyone, my name is David. Thank you, Dee. Lovely speech.
You're welcome.
We have many success stories, but we only have 3 minutes. We're physios. We're from the Mornington Peninsula primarily, but we do a lot of work around here as well. We're mobile, do hydro, gym work, home visits. I'm a massage and myotherapist background, so I've been working in the space for nearly 20 years. Disability sector specifically about 9. Amy's come on as a new grad physio. She did placement with me, so I also mentor university students as well. Work very hard, really love helping people, and thank you for Magnum Support Services. Put on a great event tonight, and we went to one in Fountain Gate, so thank you guys. Planning to, just be a part of anyone's journey in the room, whatever industry you come from, because we've all got that common ground to really help the participants, and we all want to work as a team. And so I just met Bianca before, and she's doing psych, and we're obviously physios, so we want to work as a team to support the participant, and that's why we're here in this room together. We probably all had a very busy day at work like I did, and travelling, all the rest of it. So thank you for coming. Thank you for putting on the event. We really do appreciate it. Hopefully you can do one down our way next time. But yeah, thank you for all the lovely people we have met, and this opportunity, that this synergy that we can grow together can go further to help the participants that are out there helping us, support us as well. So thank you for your time. I didn't want to run out for the next time Bobby was speaking, so thank you for having me, and see you later.